Welcome to 3 Count Commentary. Let's talk about Rampage from February the 4th, 2022. This was actually a much better Rampage than usual, believe it or not. And this, for the first time in a long time, I can say Rampage was actually better than SmackDown, believe it or not. So Adam Cole defeats Evil Uno because, of course, he did. The referee held. The referee aided in a spot again. This is the goofball referee. What the human dildo Bryce Remsburg. You know, they did the I kick at you, then I throw your leg to the referee for the neck breaker spot. It doesn't make any sense. Why would the ref catch the foot? This is so I just gave Rampage a little bit of praise. And then immediately I'm considering taking it back just off that one spot. Adam Cole wins. Then he complains that, he runs down the list of his opponents, complains that he doesn't get enough respect, and that everybody forgot who he is. Says that he's the best on the planet, and that Adam Cole always becomes the guy. In the end, he always becomes the guy. He always becomes the world champion. So that's his goal. He will become AEW World Champion. I mean, big fucking surprise. Big surprise he wants to become World Champion. Why wouldn't he? When he read down his list of opponents, I was like, man, this is horrible. He started talking about guys. Frankie Kazarian. I was like, huh? I think you about to call out Frankie Kazarian? Like, you about to fight Kazarian again? And I was like, oh, this is bad. He hasn't beaten anybody of any sort of name value whatsoever. He beaten 0 top stars. And he about to, challenge for the world title. It makes no sense. It makes 0 sense. But this is AEW for you. They do stuff like this. It doesn't make any sense. Jade Cargill said that she's green like money, and she doesn't care who's next. Also, there was an article out there floating around that said Jade Cargill turned down WWE because she didn't want to become just another number. I don't know what that meant. And I was actually in the belief that she actually got rejected. That she was the one who got turned down. Like, this is a weird thing that they've started doing, this kind of spin that they've started doing, where some of these people have tried out for WWE, and then they got rejected, and then they claim they rejected WWE. Powerhouse Hobbs was another one. Like, I know that was a completely different situation, though. Like, he had a tryout. He didn't get signed. He ended up in AEW. They saw him there, but he wasn't signed. And then they offered him an opportunity to come back, and he declined. That's a different situation. As far as I know, Jade Cargill had the one tryout in 2019 before AEW was, I don't know, I think it was, AEW was around 2019. I don't remember what month it started in 2019. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't the place she thought it was. So acting like, oh yeah, I chose AEW because, there was so much more opportunity. That kind of would raise my eyebrow. Especially she was completely and totally unknown. She had no athletic ability whatsoever. She looked awful in her first couple of matches. She honestly has gotten better. And I could definitely see that she definitely was not good enough to be even on NXT at the time. So I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to spin it or if this is the truth. But every time I see that kind of thing, I kind of raise my eyebrow. Because I'm like, I know you had a tryout. Why would you go to the tryout if you didn't want to sign? That's an interesting question. Why would you go to the tryout if you didn't want to sign? Also, I think that maybe did she show up in AEW before or after Mark Henry? Because the article mentions how she and Mark Henry are kind of friendly and that, he's one of her mentors. And maybe that is one of the reasons why she didn't sign, is maybe Mark Henry kind of told her, hey, you should go to AEW because I'm going. I don't know. But I know they both showed up at around the same time, didn't they? I know Mark Henry showed up during the pandemic. I think it might have been after Jade, though. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in the comment section could correct me on that. But I'm always very suspicious of this whole, I turned down a WWE contract. I'm like, did they lowball you? you know, what was going on here? Because, sometimes it makes sense. Like, I believe the Young Bucks did. I do believe that. Because WWE doesn't care about tag team wrestling. So why would they sign there? But most of the other times it's kind of, and I can understand that, if you don't have a contract and they see you on TV and offer you one like Hobbs, all right, I can see how that could happen, because they do wait for people to get over somewhere else and then try to poach them. That's a usual WWE tactic. But we're talking about somebody who was doing a tryout here, and Jade Cargill was not good. So I don't see her being offered some big money contract by WWE and then saying, no, I would rather go to AEW. And then the interesting thing is she tweeted out after she won the TBS title that she was more trusted in AEW, in the big company, in the new company rather than the big company or something like that. And I thought that was interesting. That was an interesting tweet. And, or was that something she tweeted out during the Big Swole controversy? It's one of the two. But in any event, it sounds like a media spin that you always have to say, I turned them down, not that they rejected me or whatever. And you know what? It doesn't matter anyway. Like, I don't see why people even have those conversations. Like, we've been having those conversations. She's been on this roster for 2 years, thereabouts. And everybody should pretty much know she had her WWE tryout, and whether she signed there. Obviously, she didn't sign, so it doesn't make much sense to me, but whatever. And they clearly don't have any feuds for her either. That's why she's talking about who's next. And it's like, I don't know. You picked your last opponent. Why didn't you pick another one? Maybe you could wrestle the referee since they're getting involved with the matches now. Sammy Guevara defeated Isaiah Cassidy. This match was a mess. It was. I hate Sammy Guevara. I really do. There was one good spot in here, and I thought it was interesting, and that was the side effect on the ring apron. This was a good spot because Isaiah Cassidy was getting his ass beat, and they needed a way to turn the tide. And so they had Mark Quinn distract Sammy Guevara while Isaiah Cassidy had the referee distracted. And Matt Hardy interfered, gave him a side effect on the ring apron, and that led us to the heat part, where Isaiah Cassidy can now take time to build the heat. I was like, okay, that's a good spot. A good usage of Matt Hardy. And yes, Matt Hardy's ring apron spot, and Sammy Guevara is a bulletproof midget, so it doesn't matter that he was dropped on the ring apron, and it wasn't going to lose anyway. Then we have Andrade, look at me, and he came out there, his music played, and I was like, why is his music playing? What is he coming down here for? I forgot he was involved with the Staircase Boys, and they were that's their new office, apparently. I completely forgot. It's been 2 days and I forgot about that shit already. He distracted Sammy Guevara for a little bit. None of it mattered. Sammy Guevara ended up winning with the GTH. Then, after the match, Matt Hardy and Andrade circled Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin ran down to the ring to back them down. Matt Hardy got out of the ring, and Sammy was kind of watching as Darby and Andrade kind of discussed something. Andrade put his hand out as if to say, go ahead and shake it. Are we in business? And then eventually Darby just kind of stared him, and Andrade backed down. Whatever. Then Darby and Sammy teased having a little title match as they kind of stared at each other. For some reason, Sammy still has both TNT titles. Why is he carrying both of them? It's the same belt. So, can somebody explain why he's carrying both belts? It's the exact same belt. Like, the whole double belt gimmick only works if if it's two different belts. Whatever. So they teased Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. Okay. I'm actually not against that. I'm actually not against that as far as Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. But it seemed like it's probably going to be Andrade versus Darby at some point. But maybe Sammy and Darby at the pay-per-view. All right. I'm not against that part. So that part was fine. Jericho being on commentary as his boy got jumped by the Hardy family office is very weird, though. QT Marshall had a hype video where he talked about Hook, said that he was upset about all the hype for Hook and that he was a degenerate and, he eat only black jelly beans or some more shit. Then he claimed that he's going to have his most prized student, somebody nobody has ever seen before, take out Hook next week. More surprises, more and more surprises, instead of just telling us what's going on. Whatever. Layla Hirsch ended up hitting Chris Statlander with a chair after Chris Statlander said she was unprofessional. So good way to prove it. Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa had a pretty good match that ended in disqualification. Mercedes Martinez bopped Thunder Rosa with a lead pipe and took her out. Okay. Later, backstage, Mercedes Martinez told everybody she was here to take out Thunder Rosa. Britt Baker appears, says that this is not what they discussed. She did not pay Mercedes Martinez for a countout, and she wants it finished, or Mercedes Martinez's time in AEW will be shorter than her time in her last gig. It's not a WWE joke because the last time Mercedes Martinez had a job, it was an Impact, and she was not there that long. So it sounds like it was an NXT joke, but if you know she was an Impact before she came to AEW and she wasn't there very long, it's an Impact joke. All right, so this was confusing because Smart Mark Sterling was the guy who paid Mercedes Martinez to attack Thunder Rosa. All right. Smart Mark Sterling works for Jade Cargill. Okay. But then we find out, no, he wasn't working for Jade Cargill at that time. For some odd reason, he was freelancing for Britt Baker. Whatever. Whatever. Yes, it makes more sense for it to be Thunder Rosa, is more of a Britt Baker enemy than a Jade Cargill enemy, but Jade Cargill was the one in the tournament who had to beat Thunder Rosa. So it made perfect sense. It's like they're trying to double dip on this thing where they decided, we don't want Jade Cargill and Mercedes Martinez to be partners. We're going to instead push her into the Britt Baker orbit. And after the Jamie Hayter thing failed, and they even had Britt Baker take some shots at Jamie Hayter, like, I just wanted somebody to handle this thing. And that's to say that Jamie Hayter couldn't handle it. And so they kind of are pushing Mercedes Martinez more towards Britt Baker. I think this is clearly there was no long-term plan here. This was clearly on we need to switch this. Something needs to change. Jade needs to be by herself. And since Britt Baker has sort of a stable around her, we can just put Mercedes Martinez in that stable. No. Nope. I don't know. I like the Mercedes Martinez Thunder Rosa match. I like the disqualification. It makes sense in this story because we're actually going to continue this. I like that that it's going to continue, but I don't like that it involves Britt Baker. It's, it shouldn't involve anybody. If we're being honest, it shouldn't be that, Mercedes Martinez is a henchman for Britt or Thunder Rosa or whoever. If she was going to be a henchman for Britt Baker, then that's what she should have been from the beginning. Trying to change it, it's like, why would Britt Baker help Jade Cargill win the TBS title? I guess we got to make sense of that. Maybe she never wanted to wrestle Jade Cargill. Whatever. This is the kind of shit you get into. We're lost in the weeds. There was a Serena Deeb vignette. She deserves it. Jay Lethal defeated by Ricky Starks. Match was phenomenal. The promos was really good too. Jay Lethal was worried about the 2-on-1. But says that he's going to pop Starks' ego. And what will Taz think if he loses the FTW championship? Starks says, "You've never been in the ring with somebody like me. I'm cut from another cloth. I'm a different breed." And then in the match, Starks did some type of ground and pound where he was hitting Lethal with both hands. It looked like a toddler throwing a tantrum. It didn't look very good. But this match was saved 100% by the absolute awesome finish. It wasn't even a bad match. I'm not gonna say it's a bad match. So I'm not gonna say that the finish saved the match. I will say that the match was good, but the finish made it great. Lethal goes for the lethal injection. He gets countered as he jumps in the air. He gets snatched from the air into the Rochambeau. Great finish. 1, 2, 3. Ricky Starks pins Jay Lethal. Very good match. Dante Martin also took out Will Hobbs, but we're not going to talk about that because that's frustrating, and SmackDown frustrated me enough. I don't need to discuss that. So, Rampage was at least interesting this week. Adam Cole continues to, vanish before our very eyes. He's just getting skinnier and skinnier, and he becomes less and less important. It's like, oh, he beat up Evil Uno. Who cares? Mercedes Martinez is in a good spot. I like her and Thunder Rosa. I like the booking of that feud. I like the disqualification. Everything was good until they tried to explain why she's now working for Britt Baker. I'm like, nope. Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin is an intriguing match. I don't mind that. Darby will probably have to deal with Andrade. That could be fun. So that's at least interesting, even though I don't like Sammy Guevara. So there's at least things on this show that's interesting, unlike SmackDown, which was completely and totally boring. But that's a SmackDown review. All right. This show was okay. It was better than most weeks. And at least we got to see a pretty good fucking match between not Britt Baker. I'm sorry. I don't know why she was on my brain. Between Ricky Starks and Jay Lethal, as well as Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa. At least those two things were good. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later.